yeah, it's not about your gear. It's not about your tech. There should be no excuse to not get started.
Just you watch. We'll get Chris Nolan on here eventually. Mark my words.
Yeah, you could hire a company like mine or even way bigger companies than mine to help you produce video. But even if you have $0 in your budget towards your video, that should not be an obstacle for you in today's world. We've done some really cool things since then. You probably agree, Karson, obviously.
Yes, we've done many wonderful things.
Okay, we've begun. Let's take it from the top, shall we?
Sounds good. You want to kick off or do you want me to?
Kick us off, Karson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to KinoCast, our very first episode. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Karson Basham, and here is the host, Tanner Browning.
Hey, everybody.
You may be wondering why I'm the one talking if he's the host. It's because I work for him, so he gets to tell me what to do. But
that's the way to put it. That's the way. This is his new assignment, is to put himself in front of everyone. No, it's because Karson, you got a great voice for radio, maybe a face for radio as well. I'm not sure, but no, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, Karson, great intro. This is our first go at it, isn't it?
That it is, and I think for the first time, the intern knows a little bit more about the topic than the boss does, which is rare. So drink it in, everybody. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. No, of course, I jest. This is KinoCast. This is the podcast for Kino Media. This is something that we've talked about doing for a long time, and this episode is basically a sort of introduction where we get the chance to explain why we're doing this, what we're doing it to build up towards, and our motivations behind it.
It's really fun to be in the content space like we are. We're a media company based in Idaho, and we claim how important it is to be creating content for your audience. And something that Karson actually brought up was to say, hey, he started getting into podcasts for a project of his, and he kind of pitched to me the idea of doing one for Kino Media. And I loved the idea. I love podcasts, I love listening to them. I love sharing information. And I actually realized that quite often friends and family of mine that aren't necessarily clients, but they're people that are, looking to step into the world of video production or social content creation. And they are always asking me questions, simple stuff like, how do I start a YouTube channel? What camera should I use? What's the best practices for TikTok? What editing software? And so I just figured this might be an opportunity for us to kind of put it out there, free information for anyone that's looking to get into the video space, and allowed to be just out there and available. And the more research we did, we realized there wasn't truly a podcast, right, Karson? There wasn't a podcast that we felt like was putting forth the information we want to put forward.
Not really, no, which personally I found surprising. I mean, you've got all these podcasts about, talking about movies or talking about film practices, but really for that, I guess the word I should use is expansive topic of video itself, not just film, there's really not much. Again, yeah. Shocking. There's like 1 billion podcasts out there.
Yeah.
And so with that, it gives us a chance to be able to share what we know with the listeners so that they can take what we've learned and not only apply it to themselves, but also see what it is that they could do to put their own little twist on things.
And just to make it very clear, we're professionals in the space. We are a production company. We're not even the biggest or the best or the brightest out in the space. You can definitely bet on that, but that doesn't matter to us. We still want to share information. We still want to help people on their journey of creating videos, telling their story, and making a living online using video.
Just you watch. We'll get Chris Nolan on here eventually. Mark my words. Episode 445 or something, hey, but we'll get there.
Chris, my man, if you're out there listening to this, it's my lifelong dream to get a hold of you. So just put that out there, I guess.
Just shout out to my boy Chris.
Just put it into the universe, manifesting, right? Just put it out there, and it will come to you. So, and maybe if our first, and maybe any viewers would be great, or any listeners. That's what you call them right on here, listeners.
So then, Tanner, obviously the question everyone's asking is, why are we listening to this? What kind of brought this podcast into being? The answer to that is because we have a video production company. You have a video production company. I work for it. How did that come into play? Where did Kino Media come from? What was the origin story of why we're here now?
It's not as exciting or impressive as maybe you would think, but I'm happy to start our first episode, talk about our background a little bit, where it came from. So Kino Media, people always ask the name. It's spelled Kino. Sometimes people spelled it Keeno or Kyno. You know, I've had multiple ways of it being spelt. The short story is the name originated from those that are from Eastern Europe, or even Greek speaking. There's a lot of root-based words that kino means cinema or film. I served a LDS mission in Russia for 2 years, and so I speak Russian, and kino is a word that's recognizable and synonymous with film and filmmaking. So that name just kind of stuck with me when I decided to start my own production company, and that's the short answer. The cool answer I tell individuals is that we see through a lens of cinema. We see things, all things kino. We see things as if it's storytelling, no matter what we do, whether it's the most boring talking head video or corporate video, it's always going to be like through the lens of cinema, which it's true. It's what we love to do, and that's what we're all about, storytelling. But that's kind of the origin of the name. To talk about where I got my start a little bit, I've been running Kino Media for 4 years now. And it's been a really exciting journey, been really fun, gotten to meet a lot of great people. I actually got my start when I was in college, and I came back from Russia, and my dad at the time, who had a company, he turned to me and he knew I needed a job, I needed to make some money. And so he asked me, he's like, hey, so we're in need of help with video. I know you like doing video. I know you've always enjoyed that. You've done animation, you've done filmmaking as a kid. I think we could use a little bit of help on that. Do you think you come over and help us make some videos and be part of that? And I was like super stoked about the idea of actually getting paid to do it now. And that company, for those that may or may not know, or it's very obscure, it started from my grandparents, and it's called Fin Fun Mermaid. And it's basically a swimmable product that kids can put on. It's like a tail and with the monofin attached, and it makes kids imagine and dream and to feel like they're real mermaids in the pool. And it's a really exciting product, and it's sold millions, worldwide now. And at the time when it started, it was kind of an obscure online retail item that my dad was getting into with his brother. The short story from there is I worked through college, and I was very lucky to have a hands-on experience as I was starting and working. Had a lot of opportunity working with the marketing team and getting into marketing. It was really exciting to see the business really blow up from when I was there. It obviously wasn't all my doing, but I was in charge of the video team. We had at times small members that come in and out, and besides myself, but relatively it was like 3 of us in the video team. And we were able to basically take a very small, I think it was under 3 million in revenue a year, small business on eBay primarily was being sold, to where when I departed from them, it was over 20 million a year it was making. It really exploded, and video was a huge part for that, namely because the product, you have to kind of see it to believe it. Hopefully we can have some clips for those watching the video version of this to show what it is and some of the work we did there. And overall, we just helped really take it to the masses. And I had a front row seat of a company really blossoming and exploding, and really seeing how video and the power of advertising and marketing, and specifically video marketing and social marketing, how it really took this obscure small product and made it this kind of big fad. It was really about 5 years where we had huge numbers, and sales were through the roof, and it really exploded. We also had the opportunity of building up a YouTube channel. So we started around 1,000 subscribers, and then we grew it out to over 100,000. We got our silver play button. It's still continuing to grow. That was really exciting to see and to learn how YouTube works and how to really establish an audience and create content and series for an audience, and to adapt and to adjust when things change. Because there were some things that are totally different now on YouTube that back in the day, 5-6 years ago, it was kind of the Wild West. Now there's a lot of other things and parameters set for kids content, which we're definitely doing with the whole COPA compliance, which we'll talk about probably in other episodes, because that's a whole topic in itself. And FinFin will be a big case study for that. Have I bored you yet, Karson, with this, or you want to keep going?
Oh no, I'm quite fascinated. It's quite similar to my own story. The more I think about it, though, perhaps with a bit more success involved than anything else. So I'm excited. I keep going. I'm interested.
Yeah, nothing more than that. So like I said, I was there for 5 years, decided to take these things I learned when I was up front and learning on the dime of essentially a very large company. And I thought, I've had a fun time with this, but it would be really, I'm a creative and I love, creating videos and being a filmmaker. And I just thought, I probably want to try getting some other opportunities of doing work besides just mermaid stuff. Because whenever I show my reel for potential employers, it was always, the first question they always said was, okay, it's pretty cool. Do you have anything else besides mermaid stuff? They were so confused. Like, why are there so many mermaid videos this guy has? It's like, well, that's all I've mainly done for work for the last 5 years.
I'm kind of a troll guy myself. I don't particularly like mermaids.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not like a huge mermaid person, but I now know that it is definitely a specific niche, and there are some enthusiasts involved in there. So it's, and no, what's the word? It's like no shade to them. I think it's great for whoever wants to dream and imagine and live their world and life as they see fit. But I wanted to go out, and there wasn't really a lot of opportunities that was coming my way that I thought I was going to work for another company, maybe work for an agency somewhere. And just kind of had the idea to go out my own and do my own agency and kind of build my way from the ground up and see where it went and do the freelancer thing. Had a couple more clients reach out to me at the time, and then who came from knowing me from FinFun, and then it kind of started from there. So the rest is history. And again, we're still very, very early, very young in our journey. We're still a very small team working out of our remote locations, but we've done some really cool things since then. You probably agree, Karson, obviously. At least you should, because you work for me.
Yes, we've done many wonderful things.
Yes.
No, truly. We've done quite an impressive amount of projects in my time. Through working with this company, I have managed to work for at least, dare I say, almost a dozen different companies that I would never have been able to touch if I hadn't been able to join in. Like I've done FinFun videos myself in collaboration with them. I've done dropping gas tanks from, 50 feet in the air and whatnot. It's been fun. It's been really fun. And I haven't even been around for more than a year at this point. I'm excited to see where things go.
And now we're hosting a podcast together, so it's crazy where things go. And it's been really fun. So we're going to see where things go the next few years. We got big plans, obviously, but this has been a new focus for us, is to kind of start a podcast and do something that's not so self-serving. We're trying to just give information and help others, like I said, in that pursuit of building audiences and telling stories.
Honestly, yeah. And I would say that that's something that even our normal like ad shoots and whatnot, that's something that we accomplish as a company, because like you said, we see things through a cinematic view. Anybody can just put together a random ad for, I don't know, Netflix. I've seen tons of those where you just slap a bunch of clips together from their various shows and then put the Netflix logo at the end. Ta-da, ad. Or, lately I've been seeing a lot of ads for Clash of Clans, which is people like talking about the game with gameplay footage in the back. It's just like, wow, this probably took you a good 60 seconds. Good on you. Good on you. The ads that everyone remembers are the ones that stick in their heads, and the ones that are quality, the ones that are, like you said, cinematic, those are the ones that have the oomph. And those are the ones I feel like we make and that we endeavor to work with here in this space that we have.
Right. And that is kind of a good pivot point to talk about my first belief and what kind of created Kino Media and why I decided to step out and do my own thing. I have two philosophies. I guess the main underlying philosophy of where Kino Media comes from, like the idea of like seeing things cinematically, is that I am a firm believer in storytelling is the highest form of marketing. It is the purest form of influencing others, and capturing attention is really good storytelling. And I also believe in that same neck of the woods that filmmaking 'Cause I say I'm a filmmaker first, business owner second. Like I am a filmmaker through and through, and everyone on my team in some form or another are filmmakers, are storytellers. But filmmaking of all the types of media and content out there, I believe filmmaking is the greatest form of storytelling. So when it comes to the marketing side for business, what everyone needs attention. We need to get out from the pack, like you're saying, with the good ads. I really believe storytelling, and in the case filmmaking, like commercials that feel and have a narrative spin on them, that have a little bit more to them, that are just not just corporate. They're not just video. I hate using the word video, my quotation marks, but it has a feeling of like being a short film or a film that you would see in the cinema. Hopefully they don't all turn out that way, but that's kind of the goal, right? And that's kind of where the inception of this idea of this company that would provide that. And again, I'm not the only one that does that. There's a lot of great, much bigger companies that do similar work, but definitely has been a focus for my team to be like, okay, this is what this kind of work we want to do. But that's I firmly believe in that. And there's a couple other things in this first episode I wanted to go through and talk about, as far as why and how and what video and why it's so important when it comes to those who are looking to market. And this is a way that we think you can capture your attention from your audience.
If you don't have a driving philosophy behind what it is that you do, then really, why are you doing it? There's no point, really. Yeah, it's fun. That's great. Anything else? Like, what else do you have to put on the table?
Yeah.
Do you have troll videos and mermaid videos? Or
No, yeah, exactly. I don't know. I got 3 points I kind of want to talk about today, Karson. And I don't know if you want to go through any of them or introduce any of them first. But if you're ready, let's just jump right into these, and we could talk and give a little bit of value back, because it's just us talking about ourselves, and actually start giving some value back to listeners.
I just have a lot of appetizers before the meal. That's how we'll say it.
Okay, sure.
So your first point that you have here is video is the future. What do you mean by that? What is this statement that you've made so boldly?
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It's the idea that if you're not currently doing this in your business, or you're looking to get online and be seen, if you're not using video in that space, then you're already behind. You're already in the past. It's not just the future, it's in the present right now, 2024. I think I had an ad I cut together for Kino Media a year or two ago, and I had that tagline, video is the future, or the future is video. And now that's 2 years ago. We're in the future. When I was talking back then, this should be rephrased as video is present. It is now. It's happening. And anyone in the industry, I'm not the first one, I'm not the last one to say this, but it is by far time, right? For anyone that's looking to be online, looking to captivate audiences, you got to be using video, and you got to be starting somehow this year. And I think in future episodes, we'll talk more and more why that is the case, why 2024 is the year for you. If you're looking to create a podcast, if you're looking to create a YouTube channel, get on TikTok, or, put more emphasis in marketing your products and services, video is huge. And I think a lot of that was due to the fact I started Kino Media 1 year before the pandemic, and it kind of was great to see how once a year after I started, everyone went remote, and everyone realized that they had to use video more and more than ever to reach out to their audiences. Even though the pandemic isn't necessarily here anymore, that doesn't mean that our practices have changed from those times that we've had with the pandemic. So I still think it's super important for us to, just to continue to realize that that's the way people like to consume media. That's the way people like to learn about products. It's the way they like to be sold to. It's the way they like to learn and to gain new skills and to take courses. And the way that we engage online is more and more increasingly video focused.
And it is almost amazing to me how long it's taken for this to build up to the point where it is now. YouTube launched in 2005, 2006? It's been nearly 2 decades, and we're only just now, over the last 5-ish years, really using the power of video to advertise, to tell stories in a new and different way that's never been done before. So I got to agree, video is the future. It is something that every person who wants to be involved with this industry needs to understand.
Second point I want to bring up in our little quick intro episode today is not only is it the present and the future, but in today's world with technology, anyone can start doing it at virtually zero investment or zero cost for you and your business. Yeah, you can hire a company like mine or even way bigger companies than mine to help you produce video. And a lot of people do resort to doing that. But even if you have $0 in your budget towards your video production and to your video marketing, that should not be an obstacle for you in today's world. Just looking at a few examples, people always ask me, like, the cameras we shoot on are, obviously tens of thousands of dollars in value, but you got this thing right here, which is an iPhone, right? Or any smartphone necessarily. And this thing shoots, I kid you not, 4K and better at these days. Like, phones that are in your pocket are better than if you think about a decade or so ago, these phones were just as good, if not better, than it was back then. And that didn't stop advertisers and those who were creating to reach out to their audience. And not and 2023 was kind of the year of AI. I mean, when it comes to script writing and for visualization, and there's so many tools online, editing software. There are literally a handful, if not dozens, of free editing software that are zero cost to you to start. And it really, the barrier to entry to get into the video space, or if you want to invest into getting like nice, DSLR, a camera that shoots a little better quality, we're talking about hundreds of dollars versus thousands when it was, a decade ago. So I don't want to hear from anyone that there's an excuse that I can't do it, I can't start, blah, blah, blah. There's no excuse for you, at least technologically. It's literally in your pocket today, and you can start making videos. You can start marketing yourself or your business. And that's like, if anyone learns anything from this episode or from future episodes, is that you should get empowered to be able to create, to be able to start, to try, to fail, and to become comfortable in front of the camera, because that's just what it's all about. That's what we're doing now, right? We're trying to get ourselves out there more and more with this podcast, but literally no cost for anyone that wants to start.
I mean, they've got like 15 cameras on them for a reason. You might as well use it.
Right. Like, yeah, exactly. And the newest one, I think the iPhone 15, my brother Alex, who we'll have on this podcast, he now shoots ProRes RAW, which kind of blows my mind now that it's not I'm getting too techie, but it's no longer like a compressed format that these ones shoot at. It's starting to get closer to the same resolution, not just resolution, but the color depth and the codecs that bigger cameras have. So these cameras are going to get better and better. And yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised the things that we even shoot on iPhones sometimes for clients that are just doing TikToks and whatnot. That's kind of the look that everyone recognizes. So yeah, it's not about your gear. It's not about your tech. And there should be no excuse to not get started.
I will say, though, there is a nice advantage to having the higher end of the tech, mostly on the end of, and bouncing onto your third point, that being quality versus quantity, which is an age-old debate. But what's your take on it?
Yeah, and it's actually not maybe what you're thinking when I talk about quality, whereas, hiring a production company like ours to film something for thousands of dollars. I'm actually talking more about the kind of misconception that I get so many times from individuals who are looking to get on YouTube or start a podcast or whatever. And they always have this, and not to throw any shade at marketers, but it's kind of a marketer misconception where they have a lot going on. There's a ton of things that their business needs to do. And they kind of think as video posts or content posts as almost like checking a box and just to get it done and just to move on. And yes, that is true. Sometimes these platforms just want you to post. They want you to be on there more, and more of it usually means more eyeballs, usually means more, subscribers, followers, paying customers, whatever you want to call it. That tends to be somewhat true. However, my philosophy when it comes to creating content and trying to influence audiences is that if you had to pick one or the other, I would always tell people to go with quality versus quantity. And I don't mean in the sense of, super high-end studio with big expensive, cameras and, script and producers. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the content. I'm talking about what you're really trying to get out to your audience. And a really great example that I always go back to, for those that know YouTube, there's a YouTuber called Mark Rober. Do you know who Mark Rober is, Karson?
Mr. Squirrel trap set thing himself.
Squirrel Maze. He did the glitter bomb. He did, he's went from he's a huge, I think he's got, I don't want to say how many subscribers he has now. He's in the tens of millions, I think. He's got a lot of people following him. And when I watched that squirrel video of his, I just realized that he goes 100% for his content, quality versus quantity, because in that one video, he had a time where he says, and here's a montage of me creating, or like problem. He's an engineer, problem shooting how to make this maze and how to build it correctly. And for me as a creator and as a YouTube producer, I had thought that could have been its own video and you could have had like a 5-part series for this thing. But instead, he compresses it all into one video. It would probably was months and months of his efforts and time and research and figuring out how to build this maze for squirrels and how to basically it's an obstacle course for squirrels. And Mark Rober, for all the views he gets, the millions and millions of views and the millions of subscribers he has, he only produces about 10 videos a year. And that's like very, very few and far between compared to what a lot of people say you should be posting. He has 10 YouTube videos an entire year, and he makes sure that every one of those videos, when they come out, I know it's going to be bomb because he just does a really good job on his videos. So I don't talk about just quality as in production value. I'm talking about the content of your video, the quality, what your message is, what you're trying to get across to really. And there's obviously that's a very blanket statement, but there is a lot to be said about quality and really making sure that your message is given in an efficient way and you're really giving value. And it's not just about how many of them you make or how often you're posting. It's about, and that's what all the platforms are going to tell you too. They're not about quantity. If you can have both quality and quantity, then great, but it doesn't come that easily. That's kind of like my 3 things. Again, video is the future and the present currently. Anyone can start doing video at almost no cost. And then the 3, quality versus quantity is more important. Now, that doesn't mean my mom's actually on YouTube and she has a great channel. I'll probably have her on the podcast later. She has the opposite problem where she doesn't want to just go for quantity. She's kind of a perfectionist and she'll just re-edit, reshoot until it's like perfect. And that doesn't need to be that either. Because it kind of inhibits her from posting more often when she has great videos ready to go. So don't get in that space where you're like, I can't ever post anything because it just has to be perfect first time. You just gotta post the first one. And we'll talk more about this on our next episode as far as why you need to get started, how to get started on your first YouTube channel or podcast or content, and to just do it and just start. But yeah, that's my spiel about how and why to get into video.
Oh, Tanner, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us wonderful interns far and wide across the globe. Your knowledge is honestly very impressive, especially in today's world in a new year, 2024. And I know there's going to be a lot that we can learn together and also that our listeners are going to be able to draw from this. Like you said, giving it out to the people, giving them a chance to be able to be empowered and do things that they didn't think they could do before. No excuses, like you said.
No excuses. Exactly. And trust me, even I have plenty of excuses for myself. So but you didn't hear it from me.
You need at least 2 or 3 good excuses, tuck them in your pocket, save them for later, but not for this. Well, thank you everybody for listening. We appreciate you taking your time to come to KinoCast. More episodes will be coming in the future. What is our next episode on? That will be why 2024 is the year you need to get into video. The hows, the whys, the wheres, all those wonderful questions. So by all means, feel free to join the podcast.
Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. We'll be posting these on video as well. So we'll have this on YouTube.
Thank you so much for listening. And we hope that you have a wonderful day and see you next time.